one of my favorite places in the background here. That's the so-called Temple of the Moon, but it's also the Amaru Machai, which is the cave of the snake. In fact, there are two caves. And here, at a place which has no name, we have these amazing cutout areas. Very heavily weathered stone, but formations or constructions or shapings here up on top. And around this stone oh, what's this? It's an entrance to a cave. So you can see someone did repair work or filling in work there. And it's still used ceremonially to this day because people have left behind flowers and coca. And it's all black because of the burning of little fires of incense and things like that. And back at my old friend Amaru Machai, which means the cave of the serpent. That's not it. That's it, behind me. This is an incredibly ancient structure, most likely very much pre-Inca. The interior, you'll see, is seemingly vitrified, as in heat blasted or heat treated in some distant time by some unknown people. We have no idea who they were, what their name was, when they did this, what happened to them. So at the entrance, in a very stylistic manner, is a condor. That's the condor's head, as you can see there. Condor represents the superconscious, the highest state of being. And below that, broken, looks like his head got knocked off, probably by the Spanish, is the puma. The puma represents the conscious mind. And the namesake is Amaru. Amaru is the snake. And here is a large and polished one going in that way. And below it, we have another going all the way down from there and up and across. This is where we see the vitrified surface, which was brought to my attention by two men, both named Jesus. One of them, Jesus Morello, who is a guide in Cusco and a brilliant guide. The other, Jesus Gamara, who was an expert on the ancient stone structures of the Cusco area. Now you can see there's so much polish on this that my watch is reflected in it. And as we proceed into the interior, this large stone slab and above it is where light comes through. It said this is a place, sacred place of women, quite probably not just a place of meditation, but a place for praying for fertility. It may even have been a place where women stayed when they were giving birth, because it's quiet and it's cool in more ways than one. And again, the seemingly vitrified surfaces could be from foot traffic, but I sincerely doubt that. So we've got finely shaped stone blocks, and then Inca walls, and this is the Cave of the Sun, and around it, again, more of these odd cutout things with another Inca building here in the foreground. So at least 3, if not 4 different styles of building in this one place called Amaru Machai. Okay, I'm sure you're asking yourself, where is this and where am I? In fact, I'm below ground at the city, or just outside the city, of Nazca in Peru. The water here is coming from the high mountains, or possibly even the Andes, going underground and working its way gradually to the ocean. But at this point, it's been accessed, or was accessed by the Nazca people more than 1,500 years ago. And what this is a spiral staircase going up from the water, which is at least 30 feet underground, and working its way up, or I'm going to be working my way up, back to the surface of the land. Nazca is an incredibly dry area. And so the majority of the water does, and basically always has, traveled underground from the mountains to the sea. And what this amazing Puccio system does is it allowed the ancient Nazca people to access this underground water, which not only is clean because it's moving through sand, but it's also still cool as compared to the ambient temperature of the air here. And so by being able to access this water, and by using these Puccios, actually, they were able to clean this system. If there was any debris traveling through the underground system, these Puccios would be access points whereby they could take any debris out as it was passing by,
it also allowed them to be able to access the sweet, cool water and use it in this environment, which is quite harsh. And in some cases, if you look at the distant mountains, absolutely nothing grows there whatsoever. It's so dry, possibly an inch of rain per year. So, just an example of ancient indigenous genius at work 2,000 years ago and still functioning to this very day. Now, not that many people visit this area. Almost everyone flies over the Nazca lines and geoglyphs. But what they also do not realize is that the lines and geoglyphs in the area were not solely the work of the Nazca indigenous culture, but there was a culture prior to them who lived in the same area called the Paracas. The Paracas lived all the way from the coastal area all the way through here into the high mountain areas as well. And they were the somewhat famous people who had elongated skulls. Now what happened was, about the year 0 or 100 AD, the Nazca people moved into this area. They were much more warlike than the Paracas, and they basically took over. When they did that, they did it in a violent way, wiped out the royal family of the Paracas, who were the ones with elongated skulls. So all of a sudden, more or less, from the archaeological record, the elongated skulled people of this area disappear. My mission, or one of my main missions in life, is to find out who these elongated skulled people were, where they came from, and now I think I more or less know what happened to them. So what we're doing is we're conducting collectively with a number of people DNA testing, carbon-14 testing, and we know another characteristic which is quite strange about the Paracas, in that they had red hair, reddish auburn hair, which is not a Native American characteristic. So the question is, genetically, where did that hair color come from? And in fact, where did the ancestors of the Paracas come from? We're at a location called Ňualpa. You can try to look it up on the internet, but you may not find it. It's in the area of Cusco and the Sacred Valley of Peru. Now the Ňualpa were an ancient people, or maybe people, who lived in this area about 2 hours outside of Cusco, Peru, in the very distant past. And how distant? There is an oral tradition relating to them. Now the Ňualpa lived in a time when there was only twilight, and then all of a sudden the sun became super intense and they were forced to leave the surface of the earth and go underground. Well, historically there was a cataclysmic event that damaged the entire planet 11,700 years ago. That caused the rising of the sea levels by 300 feet, and that could have been the time when the Ňualpa perished and or descended into the earth in order to stay alive. And what we're at is a sanctuary that they most likely constructed, and you will be in awe when you see what it looks like.
Ancient word Quechua, which means older people, people who has been inhabit this planet before this 4 human race. We have Otomis, we have Lemures, we have Atlantis, we have all of these kind of previous people. For us, the Ňualpas and the Machos has been those who has been inhabit here. And before of that, even they say that they used to inhabit this planet when there was not the sun here. That it was like a twilight. Something like that, just in the morning, something like this. And when the cataclysm happened, most of these people has been extinguished. But some other, they refuse on under the ground in caves and so on. And they has been also reduced because they were giants. And they has been reduced their size to live there. And nowadays, early in the morning and late in the afternoon, they come out of these kind of caves and sit there to take this light that was as it was before. Because if they come into the full light, they're going to be burned, they're going to be killed. But they eat energies. So it is dangerous in our tradition to go to this cave when it's very early in the morning or late in the afternoon, because these energies can touch you and make you sick. Now, what it means to me is that, like in the North American natives, where they used to do the vision quest and so on, there has been a special kind of hills where there was a lot of conifers, perhaps. And now we know that the air could be charged by positive particles or negative particles. So it doesn't mean that one is good, one is bad. However, the positive particles, if you are with your muscles warm and you are touched by this current, they can produce into you a paralysis. Or the negative ions in the air can take you in a more easy way to go into altered state of perception. So if we came here, which is a special energetic vortex, okay, what will be the purpose to some crazy one to come all the way here, make all this work of the terraces here, when you have all the valley to farm here, okay, and make all this work. You are not going to bring, like some people say, I'm bringing these people here to practice, and they have here to make how to carve the stone, so they are going to... No, it doesn't make sense. It has to have something here. And this something, for me, is particular qualities of energy that you can take here, okay? By the name Ňualpa is telling us that this is a very ancient place. And what could be our Ňualpa in ourselves? Our ancestors, our deepest knowledge, our essence of our body. Nowadays, we might call these our DNA. Okay? So when you come in these particular places, these are like a special vortex where you can reach that level of your Ňualpa. So it's not necessarily to come here to pray, no. We are familiar with different states of being, which are our emotions. Anger, fear, love, right? One of the best states of being is gratitude. Gratitude. So what we can do here, for whatever reason, everything in our life has been taking a shape for us to be here, we should be grateful. Why? I don't know. That's matter either. But just to be grateful, close your eyes, and get ready to receive whatever nature, which is wiser than us, has been brought us to be here.
We have two new skulls now at the Paracas History Museum in Paracas, Peru, which actually I found. This is the first one. And as you can see, it has the classic elongated shape, but this one is of a different shape than any of the others we have in the collection. Especially notice this major protuberance up here. Only 28 teeth, so probably a late teenager when he or she died. Most likely a she because there is no brow ridge. And as well, in the back, we have the classic hole, which identifies an elongated skull. This could have been for nerve or blood flow coming out of the back of the head. And also, this indentation here showing the possible separation of the hemispheres of the brain. So why conventional academics really don't study this much still confounds me. But I am more than happy that while walking out in an area outside of Paracas, we stumbled across this skull and actually two others that were left behind by tomb robbers. And they're now safely in the Paracas History Museum collection, which means that they are part of the patrimony of Peru. And this is the other one. Through the dentition, we can see that this child was somewhere between 10 and 12 years old, with a skull like that. Again, we have the holes here, which are always found in elongated skulls, but not in normal human skulls. And in this case, we don't have the same depression here that we saw in the first one. So when we compare with a normal human skull here, which we know came from the Inca time period, so probably somewhere in the from the 15th or 16th century, possibly. Look at the difference between that skull and the elongated ones recently found in Paracas.
you.